Thanks for coming back to our channel. Have you ever thought about which countries and groups are Israel's biggest foes in 2025? With tensions in the area, changing alliances, and rising security worries, which countries and groups are the most likely to threaten Israel's existence and stability? How do these enemies affect the lives of Israelis every day, from military battles to diplomatic opposition? Israel faces a lot of threats. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and watch until the end to find out who Israel's 10 biggest enemies will be in 2025. Let's get going. Number 10. Iraq. Iraq is an increasing problem for Israel in 2025, especially due to its alignment with Iran and its military capabilities. While Iraq is not actively participating in direct military conflict with Israel, its rising support for Iranian military ambitions and the existence of Iranian-backed militias within Iraq are considered as major concerns. In 2025, Iraq has become a significant strategic partner for Iran, facilitating the transfer of arms and fighters between Iran and Syria, which are directly targeted at disrupting Israelis' security. Israel has routinely attacked Iranian weapon shipments moving through Iraq to prevent them from reaching Hezbollah and other hostile forces. Iraq's nuclear ambitions are also a concern, as the country's ties with Iran and its capacity to get nuclear technology could lead to greater regional instability. Iraq's incapacity to fully control its land and its reliance on Iranian influence in its political system make it a wild card in the Middle East. Israel remains on high alert as the growing presence of Iranian-based militias like the Houthis in Yemen presents a new front for confrontation. Iraq's deepening cooperation with Iran opens yet another front in Israel's long war to maintain its borders and sovereignty. Number 9. North Korea. North Korea is an indirect but worrisome threat for Israel in 2025 because it is allied with Iran and helps spread weapons. North Korea's relations with Iran in developing missile technology and nuclear weapons contribute to the volatility of the region. The clandestine arms trade between North Korea and Iran has sounded alarm bells in Israel as it promotes the manufacture of increasingly powerful weaponry that may be used against Israel or its allies. North Korea's continuing missile testing and nuclear development served as a reminder of the proliferation of dangerous technologies that can potentially slip into the hands of hostile actors like Iran. North Korea's growing power in the region and its willingness to help Iran's military goals are long-term security threats for Israel. The notion that North Korea's nukes could be used to destabilize the Middle East or attack Israel directly is very troubling. Israel is worried about North Korea's role in the global arms trade, which affects its military plans, especially when it comes to missile threats. Despite North Korea's geographical distance from Israel, the ramifications of its weapons programs are worldwide, making it a country that Israel monitors closely for potential escalation in 2025. Number 8. Saudi Arabia in 2025 represents one of Israel's most difficult and unpredictable foes. Historically, Saudi Arabia has been an ardent opponent of Israel, especially due to its support for the Palestinian cause. While recent reports show that there is clandestine coordination between Israel and Saudi Arabia on security topics, notably considering the mutual threat of Iran, Saudi Arabia's official attitude remains opposed to Israeli actions in Gaza and the West Bank. In 2025, Saudi Arabia's involvement in the Arab League and its influence in the Muslim world continue to hinder Israel's efforts at establishing broader regional peace. Saudi Arabia has used its huge economic and religious influence to back Palestinian parties and has frequently denounced Israeli policy in Jerusalem and the occupied region. Saudi Arabia's stance on Palestinian statehood remains unwavering, and it has been a prominent diplomatic actor in striving to isolate Israel regionally. Although there is rising discussion of a potential rehabilitation of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia, notably spurred by similar fears over Iran, Saudi Arabia's support for Palestinian militias, and its cautious stance to engaging with Israel make it a serious foe in 2025. The emotional toll of Saudi Arabia's attitude on Israel's diplomatic and security outlook is deep, as it hinders Israel's ability to establish sustainable peace in the region. Number 7. Qatar. Qatar has been a foe for Israel in 2025, primarily owing to its financial assistance for Palestinian parties that are antagonistic to Israel. Qatar's financing of Hamas and other violent groups has made it one of Israel's most problematic opponents. Although Qatar is known for its mediating role in regional diplomacy, Its support for Palestinian factions that oppose Israel's right to exist hinders the peace process in 2025. Qatar remains one of the top financiers of Hamas and other groups that advocate for the destruction of Israel. Although Qatar's government has occasionally advocated for peace negotiations, its actions on the ground have repeatedly been at conflict with the peace process. Qatar's importance in the Arab world and its capacity to support extremist groups means that it plays a crucial role in extending the conflict. The emotional toll on Israel is huge, as Qatar's financial backing enables Hamas to continue its military activities against Israel. The idea that Qatar's wealth and regional influence may further fuel the current conflict makes it one of Israel's top antagonists. The country's involvement in shaping public opinion in the Middle East by advocating Palestinian issues only adds to Israel's sense of isolation as it faces huge diplomatic hurdles in the area. Number 6. Lebanon. Lebanon remains a serious threat for Israel in 2025 due to the presence of Hezbollah, a potent militant group with strong ties to Iran. Although Lebanon itself is not directly engaged in active battle with Israel, Hezbollah's rocket arsenal and military infrastructure in southern Lebanon provide a persistent threat to Israel in 2025. The situation in Lebanon remains unstable as Hezbollah continues to get financing and arms from Iran, enabling it to carry out strikes against Israel. Despite Lebanon's weak central authority, Hezbollah's grip over southern Lebanon effectively places Israel in a continual state of readiness. Lebanon's political instability and unstable government systems have allowed Hezbollah to develop uncontrolled, making the entire country a possible launching platform for assaults. For Israel, the proximity of Lebanon and the unpredictability of Hezbollah's actions are highly alarming. The psychological impact on Israel is significant, since the country must remain cautious against prospective missile strikes, which might cause major human casualties and destroy infrastructure. Hezbollah's actions have created several clashes between the two nations, and, despite attempts at reconciliation, tensions continue to simmer for Israel. Lebanon's instability and Hezbollah's militant presence generate an ongoing emotional weight as the threat for conflict is constantly present. Number 5. Palestine. While not officially recognized as a sovereign entity by Israel, represents a serious enemy, notably due to the conduct of Palestinian militant groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad. Although Palestine is not a country in the formal sense, the ongoing war between Israel and Palestinian factions makes it one of Israel's most emotionally charged threats. In 2025, Hamas continues to govern the Gaza Strip, conducting rocket launches and engaging in violent clashes with Israel. Hamas's ideology advocates for the destruction of Israel, putting it as a direct danger to Israeli security. The Gaza conflict is a source of continual military tension, with Israel often conducting airstrikes and retaliation to rocket fire from Gaza. The emotional impact of these attacks is significant, as civilians on all sides suffer from the violence, relocation, and loss of life. The embargo of Gaza, aimed to prevent Hamas from gaining weapons, has led to catastrophic humanitarian conditions. But it also increases anti-Israel sentiment in the region. The continuous bloodshed, coupled with the political rift between the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank and Hamas in Gaza, hinders peace attempts. Israel continues to face the reality that peace is difficult, with Palestinian factions actively striving to undermine its existence and sovereignty. Number 4. Egypt. While Egypt and Israel signed a peace deal in 1979, the relationship between the two states remains fraught with conflict in 2025. Egypt's assistance for Palestinian factions, notably in Gaza, continues to be a key subject of dispute. While Egypt has regularly played a diplomatic role in mediating ceasefires between Hamas and Israel, it remains a vociferous opponent of Israeli policies regarding Palestinian in 2025. Egypt's influence in Palestinian politics continues to aggravate relations. While Egypt is not directly involved in armed battles with Israel, it has utilized its influence over the Palestinian territories to endanger Israel's security. The emotional toll on Israel arises from the ambiguity of Egypt's attitude. While nominally peaceful, Egypt's acts often cause confusion regarding its genuine intentions. Egypt's dominance of the Rafah crossing, which links Gaza to the outside world, provides an enormous influence over the flow of supplies and weaponry into the Palestinian territories in 2025. Egypt's sympathy for the Palestinian cause mixed with its strategic objectives in preserving regional dominance, maintains tensions high while maintaining peace agreements. The emotional burden of Egypt's double-edged diplomacy makes Israel question the long-term stability of its relations with one of its closest neighbors. Number 3. Syria. Syria is one of Israel's most deadly foes in 2025, despite the ongoing civil conflict within its borders. For decades, Syria has been a fervent opponent of Israel, particularly since the Six-Day War in 1967, when Israel took the Golan Heights and region Syria currently claims. Despite the fighting within its own borders, Syria continues to represent a substantial danger to Israeli security, especially due to its close cooperation with Iran and its military posture near the Golan Heights. In 2025, Syria still hosts Iranian personnel and Hezbollah operatives, forming a military buffer between Israel and Iran. The Syrian government under Bashar al-Assad remains hostile toward Israel, constantly engaging in provocative rhetoric and maintaining military readiness.
The country's chemical weapons program, which has been tied to Syria's military strategy, remains a severe concern for Israel. In addition, Syria's proximity to Israel means that the possibility of conventional conflict, such airstrikes or missile assaults, is ever-present. The psychological burden of living so close to a state that openly desires Israel's annihilation is tremendous for Israeli people, especially those living near the Golan Heights, who confront the continual prospect of military escalation. Israel's military response to Syria's activities is one of prudence, but the volatility of the Syrian government and its alliances makes it a major threat. Number 2. Turkey, once an ally of Israel, has become one of its most difficult foes. By 2025, under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkey's posture on Israel has evolved considerably, with Erdogan's government becoming increasingly critical of Israeli policy, notably involving Palestine in 2025. Turkey remains an influential regional force with a strategic location at the crossroads of Europe and the Middle East. Although Turkey is a NATO member, its expanding relations with Iran and public opposition to Israeli operations, particularly in Gaza, have made it a troublesome neighbor. Turkey, backing for Palestinian parties, such as Hamas, has caused serious friction with Israel. Despite this, Turkey maintains economic contacts with Israel, including trade deals, but the growing animosity from the government makes it unpredictable. The emotional toll for Israel is severe as it grapples with the loss of a once strong friend in the region. Turkey's policies, especially its opposition to Israeli airstrikes in Gaza, have made it an ardent critic of Israeli operations on the world scene. The danger is that Turkey's expanding influence in the Middle East might further isolate Israel and damage its standing in the area. This growing dynamic continues to confront Israel's foreign policy and its security considerations, especially in light of Turkey's aspiration to lead the Muslim world. Number 1. Iran. Iran continues to be Israel's primary enemy in 2025 due to its nuclear goals, military assistance for anti-Israel proxy groups, and its persistent statements against Israel's right to exist. Iran's role in supplying and funding militias such as Hezbollah and other Palestinian factions makes it a constant and unpredictable enemy in 2025. Iran remains keen on pursuing a nuclear program which Israel sees as an existential threat. Israel has consistently said that it will not allow Iran to develop nuclear weapons and has even hinted at preemptive strikes on Iranian nuclear installations if required. Iran's influence goes beyond its boundaries, particularly in Syria, where it supports the dictatorship of Bashar al-Assad, directly threatening Israel's northern border. Israel also confronts the potential of Iranian missile assaults, as Iran has developed long-range missile weapons that might reach Israeli land. The emotional toll on Israel is tremendous. Its population live in fear of a future battle that could involve the use of nuclear weapons. Despite diplomatic efforts, including agreements like the Iran nuclear deal, Israel remains highly concerned about Iran's long-term ambitions, especially given its hostile attitude on Israel's existence. This complex geopolitical conflict continues to impact Israel's security strategies and its relations with the West. The nations and entities Israel faces in 2025 reflect a complicated and perilous geopolitical terrain, with emotional and security concerns facing the nation daily. The stakes are great and the repercussions are catastrophic. Thank you for viewing, like, subscribe, and comment below for more in-depth insights. See you next.